This is the 12.9-inch M1 iPad Pro, which was released back in, I believe, around May of 2021, which is actually really crazy to know that it's already been 2 years since the launch of this tablet. And it was a real game changer back then with the implementation of Apple's very own silicon M1 chips in the iPad for the very first time, which turned this device into one of, if not the most powerful tablet on the market. And it was already a pretty powerful and impressive device in and of itself, even before Apple decided to implement the M1 chips into the iPad. So then, with this powerful tablet, now pretty much getting into the territory of most laptops in terms of performance, more and more persons actually wanted to start to see if they could either replace or substitute their laptops with something like the iPad. By the way, I'm gonna be announcing a giveaway for hitting the 1000 subscriber mark at some point during this video. So ensure to stick around because I don't want you to miss out on that. All right. Now, fast forward to pretty much mid 2023 with iPad OS getting better, I guess, and Apple finally giving us Pro apps for the iPad Pro. And also considering that the M2 iPad Pro is currently Apple's latest. So that really leaves just one simple question. Is something like this M1 iPad Pro a good value right now in 2023? Well, spoiler. It's actually the cheapest large screen iPad Pro right now, especially if you're a Pro power user. Now, in order to explore that thought, I'll be referring to the bigger 12.9-inch iPad that I have here, but most of it will still apply to the much smaller 11-inch iPad Pro. So let's look at the design of this device for a quick minute because, hey, there's really not much to talk about in terms of changes from previous iterations. It's still a very sleek, good-looking device that definitely feels premium and durable, with the rear and frame being of aluminum material, and the front is glass with a scratch-resistant coating. The larger 12.9-inch here in particular is quite big, weighing in around 680 grams, and feels like a large slate, which I personally don't have a problem with, as I do enjoy having a larger display, which I'll definitely talk a bit more about later on. But if you prefer something on the smaller side, then I think the 11-inch might be that sweet spot for you. The 4 speakers on the iPad Pro, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom, sounds so good. It has a full surround sound kind of vibe from my experience, which makes watching videos, especially movies, on this device just a joy. And it's a truly impressive output for a device with such a slim chassis. Now, the bottom of the iPad Pro is also home to a USB-C port, which also happens to be a Thunderbolt port that helps me to connect a bunch of other external peripherals, which I'll definitely get to in a minute. But generally speaking, in terms of the overall design, it's not a drastically different looking iPad Pro, either from its predecessor or even the newer M2 iPad Pros. But let me tell you, the display is one area which Apple focused on upgrading for the M1 iPad Pro, and they did so at the time by introducing a new mini LED technology. Apple is calling this screen the Liquid Retina XDR display. It's a very high resolution panel, pretty color accurate, and it also has really good viewing angles. It supports ProMotion, which we all know by now means a variable refresh rate, so on the screen image refreshes twice as fast as on many other tablets for a smoother look and feel, and is also evident when scrolling through like social media feeds or playing an intense game that needs the image on the screen to keep pace with the action. Now, unfortunately, you won't find the same kind of display on the smaller 11-inch variant, as it uses a more traditional LCD screen. And that's not to say the display on the 11-inch iPad Pro is bad at all. It's actually quite a stellar display, but you can see the black levels on that display is actually just a little gray to me when compared to the mini LED that lets blacks be truly black. But the funny thing about the 12.9-inch iPad Pro is that it can be very easy to miss the benefits of that mini LED display in normal day-to-day use. I mean, sure, there's great contrast when browsing the web, texting, playing games, and so on, but really it's not very different from any other iPad. Apple still limits the max brightness in most scenarios to 600 nits, which I mean, yes, will be, bright enough, I guess, but not eye-popping. You know what I mean? However, where the magic begins to kick in is when you are viewing videos or photos in full screen. Now, when you do that, the iPad Pro kicks into a different HDR mode that's just really stunning. The overall max brightness of the screen now jumps to a powerful 1000 nits, and peak brightness for certain lighting situations can reach up to 1600 nits. That's just ridiculous. So, it's a thing where you don't see it until you see it, but you see it. But hey, I'm no display quality pro by any means. But what I can say for sure is that this screen here on the iPad is functionally, to my eyes at least, quite possibly equivalent to one of those high-end OLED TV, especially in a dark room. Now, of course, the display isn't perfect. Heck, nothing really is, if we're totally being honest here. But in regular use, I found this to be a really impressive display that you can watch movies on and videos, of course, and it's also just as impressive for editing photos and videos, which makes this an attractive device for me or other content creators out there. Now, as impressive as the display is, it's actually not at the top of my list of things when picking a tablet that could potentially replace my laptop. No, I care more about portability, weight, and of course, functionality. So, let's talk about that M1 chip for a minute. So, in 2023, what does it really mean to have an iPad that has the same chip that powers some of Apple's Mac computers? Well, when paired with iPadOS 16 and what the impending iPadOS 17 promises to be, we're getting to now see a bit more of what most of us pretty much already knew. And no, it's not that iPads will be able to now run Mac apps, but the fact that this thing is a beast of a tablet. I'm talking about more versatile multitasking support with Stage Manager as one of those features, as well as finally improving external display support so that images aren't just simply mirrored on any monitor or other displays. But not only that, Apple also finally gave us Pro apps like DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro to be able to now start taking advantage of the powerful M1 chip for more pro workflow, which has been just fantastic for me to have. Now, I've been personally taking advantage of using something like Final Cut Pro to edit mostly my short video content, and it handles it without breaking any sweat. And if you don't know, editing videos, especially high-res files, is one of the most taxing things you can do on any device. And doing it on an iPad can be really hard. But with the M1 chip, it makes editing on a tablet like the iPad Pro a much smoother experience. And of course, doing all this with an Apple Pencil just makes it all the better. It's not a must-have, but it's definitely a nice and convenient accessory to have. Now, going back to the USB-C slot here for a quick second, I did mention that it supports Thunderbolt connections, which was a first for Apple at the time. Now we're getting increased speeds, and it also means a whole host of high performance devices can be connected to the iPad Pro. Now these are mostly peripherals such as high resolution monitors or displays, faster external storage devices, amongst many other devices. Battery life has proved to be quite strong and consistent from my experience. Now I've been consistently getting upwards of 10 hours from me doing different tasks, including general web browsing, streaming videos, gaming, bouncing around different apps, and of course the occasional video editing. So absolutely no worries where that is concerned. Cameras on the M1 iPad Pro are usable. It's not gonna stun you with what it's capable of doing, but it's good enough for everyday tasks should you happen to need it. The 12 megapixel camera on the front of the tablet is also okay as well, and will get the job done. I'm a bit annoyed though at the placement of this camera, as it sits at the top bezel of the device. So when you turn the iPad in landscape mode, which is how I use my iPad most of the times, well, then the camera is no longer in the center. I don't know why anyone would want to place, but hey, it is what it is. I thought they would have fixed it in the M2 iPad Pros, but nope. But nonetheless, this thing is packed with power and tons of features, which is still very useful and quite relevant even in 2023. The more I use this thing, the more I feel that it's somehow built to be an alternative to a laptop, as well as giving a solid tablet experience with power that can rival a lot of the best laptops out there. And in 2023, the M1 iPad Pro here is still such a good value that it practically makes no sense for me, especially to upgrade to the M2 version. I just have to keep remembering that it's just an iPad. So throughout this video, you would have seen me pairing the iPad Pro with this awesome keyboard case from Zag. This is their Pro Keys keyboard folio case with trackpad, and it pairs beautifully with my iPad Pro and is an awesome alternative to the more expensive Apple Magic Keyboard. Now, I've been using it ever since I got the iPad Pro, and apart from protecting my tablet, which it does really well, it also turns my iPad Pro into a laptop type of experience. So it's really great for traveling since it acts as both a keyboard and a protective case for my iPad. Now, Zag was super awesome in sending an extra keyboard case so that I could do a 1K subscriber giveaway to one of you guys. So to be able to win this Zag Pro Keys folio keyboard case, all you'll have to do is leave a comment with the hashtag ZagKeys. Ensure you're a subscriber to the channel because of course I'm only going to be picking subscribers, and ensure to follow me over on Instagram as well because that's where I'll be announcing the winner. Now, unfortunately, this giveaway is only open to you guys living in North America or the Caribbean. Hopefully the next giveaway that I have will include everybody once I figure out the shipping logistics to the other side of the world. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again for sure in the next upload. Peace.